Begin by safely raising and supporting the vehicle and removing the wheels. Please follow the link provided at the end of this video if you need additional assistance with those tasks. You will need to disconnect the wear sensor from the electrical line. Release the electrical connector by using a flathead screwdriver and rotating to release the clip, red arrow. With the wear sensor disconnected, remove the two M14 caliper mounting bolts, red arrows. You will need to replace these bolts with new ones for installation. You may need to push the caliper back and forth on the rotor to slightly compress the pads to clear any lip on the rotor. Once the caliper has been removed from the rotor, you will need to handle it carefully as to not stress or damage the brake line. Never let the caliper hang by the brake line. If the brake line snaps or starts to bleed, you will need to replace the line and bleed the system. If you're leaving it connected to the line while working on it, you must support the weight of the caliper. Get something sturdy around the same height so that you can work on the caliper. You are going to be pushing the pistons back into the calipers to make room for the new thick pads. This will cause brake fluid in the system to move back up into the reservoir. Open the front trunk and remove the access panel for the brake fluid reservoir. Make sure there is room for the fluid to enter the reservoir. If the pads are really worn and the fluid level is between the max and minimum line on the reservoir, you may need to suction a little out. Constantly check as you are compressing the pads back. Use a brake pad spreader and compress the pads outward, pushing the pistons back into the caliper. If you don't have a spreader, you can use a C-clamp. If you are replacing the brake pad retaining clips, blue arrow, in the caliper, use a flathead screwdriver to remove them. The pads can now be pulled out from the caliper. Use a flathead screwdriver or a set of pliers to remove the old wear sensor's red arrow. If your wear sensor has activated, you cannot reuse them. If the pads or the pad retaining plates are stuck to the pistons, use a trim removal tool to help separate the pads using care around the pistons and the dust boots. Apply a small amount of anti-squeal to the back of the pads where they make contact with the pistons, red arrow. Installation is the reverse of removal. Torque the caliper bolts, the new ones, to 85 Newton meters or 63 foot-pounds. Torque all bracket mounting hardware to 10 Newton meters or 7.5 foot-pounds. Make sure to remove any dust buildup inside the caliper. Remember to top up brake fluid as needed and pump the brake pedal a few times before driving to set your new pads. Brake pads need to be properly bedded or broken in. Bed in your pads according to the manufacturer of the type of pads you purchased. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.